What's going on, Jerome's? Today, new Minnesota Vikings free agent cornerback Byron Murphy Jr., as well as tight end Josh Oliver, met the local media jackals and got grilled, or not really. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's been three major free agent signings, but apparently Marcus Davenport, they're delaying things since they're still working on details of the contract. Intrigued. Shouldn't be a big deal, but I guess we shall see. But Murphy and Oliver met with the media, and also, so Oliver is listed at 6'7". He is a large human being. All right, so if he wants to get into pro wrestling after his football career is all said and done, and he's helped the Vikings win a dozen Jerome Bardys in the next 10 years, he could do it. He could certainly do it, man. So I'm pretty fired up. It's very clear that Kevin O'Connell wants to get back to bashing in the run game, and the Vikings were very toothless and feckless last year. Josh Oliver certainly going to bring that. Plus, I think he's got a lot of upside as a receiver as well. Byron Murphy was up at the dish first. Chris Thomason, who was leaving us. All right, so Thomason, Vikings new cornerback Byron Murphy said he talked to Patrick Peterson, his mentor at Arizona, about joining the Vikings. He also talked to Jordan Hicks, a former Cardinal, before making his free agent decision. And he had some crossover with Hicks in Arizona for 3 years, had two seasons of crossover with Patrick Peterson, his first two in the league. Very formative, and it was really cool. I mean, you saw how well Patrick Peterson took care of these young guys here in Minnesota. He did that same thing with Byron Murphy, and even though Patrick Peterson was leaving, he gave him the lowdown on what is going on here in this building, what happened last year with this defense, and what's going forward. So, I mean, again, respect to Patrick Peterson, helped the Vikings land Byron Murphy as a free agent. Murphy also said he's a team guy and willing to play outside cornerback or in the slot. I think he's going to do both. I think in base he'll start on the outside. In sub package he'll kick inside. I think that's probably what's going to happen with Flores' defense. Thompson, again, Byron Murphy makes note of the Vikings being number one in the NFLPA survey. We knew it was going to help a little bit. I could tell when I got here everything is nice. As opposed to Arizona, which is basically dead last in a number of categories on that NFLPA free agent survey. He joked when asked about the Cardinals, according to the survey, charging players for meals. He was so excited. He said, like, hey, upstairs, it's all you can eat. It's kind of crazy, man. Where I could not believe some of the results from that survey. Although, I mean, the teams that were down near the bottom, you looked at Washington, you look at Cincinnati, notoriously cheap franchise, you look at Arizona, where it's like, so some places don't have childcare, and some places have a bad gym. Some places have bad food, and some places have bad training. So it's like, how does an NFL team have a worse setup than a Lifetime Fitness? I don't understand it, man. But yeah, the Vikings, hey, respect to the Wilfs. They pay for world-class facilities, and I mean, money talks at the end of the day, but if decisions are pretty close, I think it does really give the Vikings an edge in free agency and also retaining your guys. Thomason, Byron Murphy said that he didn't need surgery with his back injury, but rehabbed with core work. So Murphy only played 9 games in 2022, hence why he didn't get the bag per se in free agency. And there's a lot of injury guarantees. There's a lot of per game bonuses in Murphy's deal. So the Vikings are protecting themselves, and they have a guy who's motivated, and hopefully the back issue isn't anything that's recurring because you've never met a guy who used to have a bad back. That other thing. So obviously, hopefully, we're good to go. And also, it's important to note that once players get into town, teams do have medical checks at the facility. And also, you've seen throughout free agency where sometimes there are free agent deals are nullified once the player gets to their new team and they failed the physical. But obviously, things are good to go with Murphy, which is good. Kevin Seifert, who's not Carl Gerbschmidt, New Vikings quarterback Byron Murphy met with Minnesota reporters today and said he is eager to play for defense coordinator Brian Flores. Murphy heard he likes to play man, and that's something I like to do as a corner. Mindset, locking things up. And Byron Murphy is a feisty, get after a man cornerback. Now he wasn't necessarily a traveling cornerback in Arizona, but when he would match up against Cooper Kupp or DK Metcalf, he wouldn't back down. He wasn't mystified. He wasn't odd. He would just simply get after it, and that's all that you need. Because as a cornerback, you're going to get beat. But the question is, does that linger with you? Does that affect the next play or the next drive or the next series or whatever? But if you can forget real quick, like, it's good to have like the memento Guy Pearce memory when you're a cornerback, and Murphy certainly has that. Kramer, Star Tribune. Vikings cornerback Byron Murphy said he heard good things about his new team from former Cardinals DB coach Marcus Robertson. He was just like, man, you're going to go up there with a great group of guys who actually care about their players. So that's another shot. That's a little thinly veiled shade at Arizona. And what's interesting is that Marcus Robertson never played for the Vikings, never coached for the Vikings, but he knows that the Vikings have this great reputation. So that's important. I mean, it's a small community at the end of the day in terms of players and coaches. So if the Vikings have a good reputation, that's fantastic. And then, Josh Oliver's presser was short and sweet, but Thompson. While new Vikings tight end Josh Oliver is known as a very good blocker, he stressed he is versatile and able to help in the passing game. And he does only have 26 career catches, but you look at the Ravens, they're the number 2 running team in the league, and you look at Lamar. I mean, Lamar is Lamar, but also Mark Andrews, who's a fantastic tight end. He was getting the majority of the work, as well as Isaiah Likely, last year's rookie from Coastal Carolina, was getting some work in the passing game as well. So I think Josh Oliver, I mean, he was a 3rd-round pick coming out of San Jose State, and he put up big numbers for the Spartans, and I think that he is going to be underrated. I mean, the Vikings aren't paying him that kind of coin just to be a blocking tight end, too. Obviously, he's going to be that in spades, one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, but also I think that he's going to be a bit of a weapon, a bit of a mismatch in the passing game as well. So I'm super hyped for both these guys. I think they're great contracts for the team. I think they're both great contracts for the player, and both at positions of need, so let's get after it, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Reaction to new Vikings cornerback Byron Murphy Jr. and tight end Josh Oliver's introductory press conference. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.